Hi everyone, I'm Amanda Pasciucco, PhD sexologist and AASECT certified sex therapist. Stay until the end to get an excerpt from my book to learn more about your anatomy, female anatomy, for free. We're going to talk about the wet and dry menstrual cycle today. The wet phase of the menstrual cycle is when ovulation occurs. It is when women are considered fertile. You may notice as a woman or your partner is more aroused, feeling more flirty, more sexy. There might be an increase in lubrication in the vagina at this time. This is totally natural because in the wet phase, the estrogen levels rise. Therefore, blood flows to the genitals more easily and creates lubrication. It also creates more erections within the clitoris because of the blood flow. It's important to know everyone's experiences vary, so if you haven't seen this as a woman or if you haven't noticed this in your partner, it's okay. Not everyone has these obvious type phases. So this is when ovulation takes place, and as the estrogen levels rise, this is what changes the cervical fluid. The cervical fluid becomes wetter and more slippery in consistency. Understanding this phase can have a difference for your body or for understanding your partner's body. Have you ever learned about the menstrual phases? I actually did from Providence College from a priest. Very bizarre college experience. If you've learned about this, I'd love to hear how. You can also precisely track these things. There's ovulation trackers, there are rings for these types of things to learn. You can measure where the cervix is, and you can take the temperature of the vagina to understand the different phases of the fertility cycle. The dry phase is associated with more like menstruation. The cervical fluid becomes more sticky and pasty instead of like smooth and liquidy. The beginning of menstruation is characterized by the shedding of the uterus lining. After ovulation, progesterone levels rise, and this is what leads to this phase, the dry phase. To be fair, if you are not using birth control, be smart, use condoms, use safer sex supplies if you're trying not to get pregnant, and you can get pregnant. This is about wet and dry vagina health, and it's not totally about sexual reproduction, more just about fertility and understanding the vagina. Those are two different things, so just be smart about safer sex practices. Click on the link below to get the excerpt about the vulva. If you're having issues with orgasm, get Bliss, the guide to begin this transformation at home. Have you had any experiences you would love to share with us? I'd love to hear about tracking, the dry phase, the wet phase, and all other comments and questions. Say hi on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at Amanda Pasciucco or at The Sex Healer. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, and the bell. Catch you next week.